listening to Cowboy Logic with Jason Forby, a message of grace and hope.
Is everybody good? All right. Well, I haven't had any death threats or anything this week, so I guess I'll keep on going. Is everybody all right with that, or a couple of you? All right. I wrote this thing down this morning. I don't know if this is just kind of a prayer or what, a thought or something. I'll just give this to you first, and then we'll just go. All right. It's this here. I believe everything in creation reveals some aspect of who God is. Mankind is the crown jewel, the one who reveals the most. It's no small thing to lay down who we became in order to step into our true selves, so that God might truly be known. I believe we are a people that are willing to go. I believe we are a people that see there is nothing greater than our life being used to reveal an expression of God that has not yet been seen. God won't be fully known until we are whole. God deserves to be known. I still pray. I want to know God, no matter what it costs. No matter what it costs. Last week was Easter, right? So we started off in this thing. I know some of you, well, maybe most of you, probably all of you, saying that Jason, he's in over his head. Well, just so you know, I know. All right, I know. Everybody say, Lord, help him. I'm after this thing, and I'm going to stay in it till Mother's Day. Anyway, we're only a couple of weeks from Mother's Day, right? First order of business after the resurrection, what was it, right? And so that's what we're in, this thing. And it's going to all make more sense if you get it all, right? Not just 1 week or one piece of it. So if you missed last week, or if you're not going to be here next week or whatever else, just try to get on there and get the whole thing. I promise you the whole thing will make more sense than just bits and pieces of the thing, because I want us to get this thing. Because until we get this thing, God won't fully be known. I know religion has conned us into this thing where we all just sit around and suffer, can't wait to get to heaven someday. We think we're suffering along until some trumpet blows. But I'm telling you, trumpet ain't blowing until the creation experiences the kingdom of God. Let's read this first. This is John 20. This is where we started out, right? This was Easter morning. This is where the tomb is empty. Mary Magdalene, she's at the tomb, right? And the angels, that's the context. John and Peter show up. They take off. They're not sure what's happened, right? It's all up in the air. And so that's where we're at in the story. This is John 20. I'll start in verse 10. So the disciples went away again to their own homes. But Mary was standing outside the tomb weeping. And so as she wept, she stooped and looked into the tomb. She saw 2 angels in white sitting, one at the head and one at the feet, where the body of Jesus had been laying. And they said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "Because they have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." When she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, and did not know that it was Jesus. In other words, he was unrecognizable. She didn't recognize him. She saw Jesus standing there, and it did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you seeking?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." He spoke her name. She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said to her, "Stop clinging to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father, but go to my brethren and say to them." Orders of Jesus: go to my brethren and say to them, "I ascend to my Father and your Father, and my God and your God." Mary Magdalene came announcing to the disciples. Mary came announcing to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord," and that he had said these things to her. The first one to preach the resurrection was Mary. The first one to preach the resurrection was Mary. And so I'm thinking, man, Jesus' first order of business, had to be actions prove what's most important to you, right? So you could easily say the most important thing to Jesus to set in on as soon as resurrection has happened, what is he dealing with? He's with Mary, a woman, and she thinks he's the gardener. So what's happening here? It's like, here, first order of business, after the resurrection, he's in a garden with a woman, as if to say, the reason I came, the most important business for me to tend to after the resurrection, is to undo the works of the enemy. What were the original works of the enemy? A woman in a garden. Come on, you got it? And so Jesus' first order of business, we talk all about redemption, we talk all about the undoing of what Adam did and all this, but I haven't ever heard anyone say anything about the redemption of Eve. John said like this, the Son of Man came for this reason, to destroy the works of the enemy. To destroy the works of the enemy. Well, the works of the enemy was tricking Eve in the garden. They ate from the wrong tree, right? And so part of the curse then happened, and God's explaining how the curse is going to operate in their lives, and he says this, your husbands will rule over you. Your husbands will rule over you. So being ruled over you by your husband was a part of the curse. And so what happened when they ate from the wrong tree is religion is born. Religion is born. And in case you haven't noticed, religion has been severely hard on the women. I'm not getting no help in here. I mean, even Christianity, it's easy to pick on, all those others where the Muslims and whatever else they got, they got to cover their whole bodies. You can only see their eyes and all this stuff. Women have taken a huge hit. They're a lot, even in today's culture somewhat around the world. Women are just people's property. They have no value or, religion has just... And so what's up with that, right? I want to know what's up with that, and I want to, because we back way on up to the very beginning of the thing. Here it goes back to our original prayer, right? I want to know God. I want to know God. That's where it led me, my original prayer. And so we can go all the way back to Genesis 1. We read it last week. God created man in his likeness and in his image, right? God created man in the likeness and the image of himself. He created him, male and female, right? So that tells me that half the image of God, half the likeness of God is female. So if God's going to be truly known, the female needs to find her full expression of who God created her to be. She wasn't created to be some subservient servant. Come on, she took on that role because of what happened in the garden, right? Can we just talk about it? So what happened in the garden, man is living life with God. He's got it made. I mean, it's paradise. It's perfection. It's hanging out with God. It's just awesome, right? And then God decides he needs a woman, and so God creates a woman and calls her woman, right? I don't know. Maybe it's because when Adam woke up, there's Eve, and he says, whoa, man. That's her name. Whoa. So here's woman, right? He's got it going on. Adam and Eve, they got all this happening, And then Eve gets tricked by the serpent. They partake of the fruit. And all of a sudden, now the curses happen. Sin, self-consciousness, all this stuff's going on. They're out of the garden. It's like life has severely changed, right? Fair enough. Life has severely changed. So in Adam's mind, Adam's a man. He went from having this kind of life to now I've got this. That level of pain, I'm not minimizing what the level of pain is. He took on a level of pain. She took on probably a level of guilt. And so here this thing has been altered, right? You with me? What happens with that kind of pain? What happens with that kind of disappointment, right? So what happens? I understand. Come on, you guys, anybody in here understand pain? Is anybody like pain? You'll do all you can to avoid pain. You'll do all you can to try to keep from experiencing more pain. Am I right about it? We've all experienced pain, and we all don't want any more pain. But I'm telling you, pain will alter your behavior. Pain will change who you actually are. That thing even gets in your body. It's trauma. It's affected us, all of us. And so what happened? I know in my own life, I can say my own life, just me. I can understand me, right? I lost my mom when I was 16. Went through a horrible fight with cancer and wasn't pretty, and lost my mother when I was 16 years old. Now that, that's no good. And my sister was 13, and it was even more no good for her. And so I'm thinking that kind of level of pain, I didn't even understand it all at the time. It's like it's affected the whole rest of my life going through that type of pain, right? And later on, I was married, just being right up front. Let's talk about it, open, honest. Me and Rachel both been married before. I had a previous marriage for 18 years. That was, full of pain. How about I leave it right there? Full of pain. Not even realizing how much pain can affect who you are and how it affects you, to the point of you will do whatever it takes to try to avoid that level of pain. I'm just saying, pain does something to you. So in the mix of what Adam had going on, so what happens is, why is it a part of the curse that man rules over the woman? Is because when a man experiences that kind of pain, he will do whatever he thinks necessary, not even knowing. It's probably subconsciously. This is why religion was born. He will attempt to control the situation so that he can keep from having to endure that kind of pain again. So then religion happened. He became controlling. And so that's where religion came up with all of this stuff. And now listen, I don't know what to call this thing. Maybe we can call it this chauvinist spirit or something like that. And so here's what I want to tell you. From that time, everything, you ready? I want to make a disclaimer. I love the Bible. I love the Bible. Okay? Everybody hear me? I love the Bible. But everybody who wrote the Bible, everybody who translated the Bible, everybody that I know that's had an opinion or gets to tell people about something that's written in the Bible, has been influenced by this chauvinist. And that thing has dominated our belief system. It's dominated who we've become. It's dominated who we are. And I just think it's the first order of Jesus, the first order of business after the resurrection, to undo that thing so that we might actually become who we are destined to be without the influence of that thing that showed up in the garden, to where man's trying to protect himself. He puts bondage on the woman. So neither one is living and operating in their true identity and their true purposes and their true power that they're meant to be. They're meant to be expressions of who God is. Together, co-equals, operating in power. I'm saying the first order of business for Jesus is to undo this thing. It's a big thing, and I've never even heard anybody talk about it. We just continue to go through life saying, well, we figure out how to survive. Well, I'm just saying, if we're going to experience something different, somebody needs to start talking about it. And so I don't know. What I do know is this thing that's operated in my life, it's operated in your lives, it's operated in all of our lives. It's affected who we've become. The pain has altered who man is. Anybody noticed? Man's messed up. News flash, right? Man is messed up. Who he is to the core has been altered over thousands of years because he's been trying to figure out what to do with this pain. He pointed it at the woman. He had to blame someone. And so now there's two things that happen, I believe. This is Jason's opinion. You can disagree. You can throw it all away. After Mother's Day, we'll do something else. I don't know. Two things can happen. Either she just becomes a beat-down, subservient, little behaving church lady, or she bows up, pushes back, and wears vagina hats. Come on, let's talk about it. You guys can see it, right? I mean, it's either one way or another, and so here we are. If this is going to be undone, somebody's got to start talking about it. We got to be honest about it and say, look, this is what's happening. This is where we are. It's society. You can look in society. I don't want to give the enemy any credit, but you can almost see what happens in the world and what the enemy's flaring up, and you can almost look at that and tell what God's up to. He's up to fixing this thing because it's a mess. We're thousands of years down the road with a man full of pain and a woman full of bondage, and neither one of them knowing who they are, and the expression of who God is still goes unknown, and that's no longer acceptable. It's the heart of God. I'm telling you, it is the heart of God for man to become healed and for woman to be set free and for both of us to find out who God is and what love is and for us to coexist and take our rightful place. I'm telling you, the earth will be changed. I fully believe, I said it last week, that, in Genesis 1, it said He made him. It's plural. He made him in the likeness and the image of God. Male and female. That him there is a plural him. It's the same, I think, as the plural sons that Paul wrote in Romans 8, where he said the creation itself is groaning and travailing with birth pains, waiting for the manifestation of the sons, plural. Come on, the creation's not waiting for a trumpet and a white horse. The creation was exposed to the curse. Jesus came to undo the curse and everything that came out of it. This, what we're talking about, might be the biggest thing that came out of it, and it's went completely under the radar. Nobody's even noticed it. The creation is waiting for the ones who messed it up to find out who they really are, restore their original identity, plural. Waiting for the sons. I believe it's the same plural as the him. It's where the male and the female find their full expression, their full identity, their full power and purpose, and together rise up, and the expression of who God is fully known in the earth, and the whole thing is restored. I'm just telling you, I'm convinced it's not coming like we think it's coming. Come on, they've been saying it's coming for 2,000 and some years now. We think Jesus himself said, hey, it ain't coming like you think it's coming. I think we ought to unpack our bags and start praying the prayer of God. We want you to be known. You deserve to be known, and you're going to become known by healing us and restoring us and us living in the creation as the sons and daughters of God, completely whole, creating together. No more living in resentment and pain and blame and unforgiveness. I know what it's like to live life full of unforgiveness. It's like a cancer in you that will deteriorate and sabotage everything that you try to touch. I'm telling you, I know there's people listening to this right now, here or out there or wherever. Come on, I've been there. I know what I'm talking about. Are letting unforgiveness operate in our hearts. Oh, I know we're religious and we go to church, so Jesus said you're supposed to forgive. You can forgive outwardly and go through the motions of that thing, but you can still be harboring unforgiveness inside of you, and it will sabotage everything that you try to touch. Anybody ever had all the right intentions and try as hard as you can to accomplish things, but something always seems to... It's unforgiveness. It's unforgiveness. So the man's had it. Because the man's had it, the woman had to have it. And here we are in this mess. So I don't know, just in the same way that Jesus deals with this woman in the garden, He restores her to her rightful place. And the first thing He tells her to do, go tell the boys. The curse is broken. I know religion says, women, you got to be quiet. You'll even find that in your book. But I'm telling you that your book has been influenced by the chauvinist. I love the book. The ones who translated it would probably stone me. Look, the book is not the third part of the Trinity. The book says Jesus is the Word of God. Now, you might find it in your book that says women ought to be quiet. But if the book contradicts Jesus, Jesus said, come on, girls. They're off sniveling, hiding, crying, scared. It's up to you. Go tell the boys. Come on, who's the first one that He revealed Himself to be the Christ? The woman at the well. is the same way that Jesus in the garden is dealing with Mary. Somehow he's kind of a representation of man, and she's a representation of woman and what they accomplished there. I don't know, somehow I feel like in the same way we can do that same thing. As we're not all men, it's not as if every man in here is guilty of whatever else. We're all guilty. We've all been affected by it. We can all take responsibility for where we are. Fair enough? We can blame someone else or continue to do that, or we can say, you know what, I'll just go ahead and take responsibility for it. I don't know who did it or who started it or who caused it. It doesn't matter. But if something's going to change, somebody has to stand up and say enough's enough. So it could be us, huh? Have I got the right bunch? How about it, guys? Is this worth fighting for? We could stand up and say, you know what, I don't know what all's happened, but here's what I do know. I don't want to hold unforgiveness inside of me. I don't want to hold bitterness and pain inside of me. Now the girls, they got all this stuff too, and so if it at least could start here. Let's represent all of the men everywhere for all time and say, we're here to stand up and say, we had pain and we blamed you and we took it out on you and you suffered severely because of it. And we want to publicly stand and say on behalf of all men everywhere to continue in the first order of business of Jesus to say, we apologize. We want you to forgive us. We want to wipe the slate clean. We want to become all that God wants us to be so that we can help you become whole and help you become healed. And let's all get this thing off. And then the girls can say, yes, we can see that this has happened and why it's happened. And we don't want to live any longer in unforgiveness. We don't want to live any longer in bondage and dealing with the pain of these knuckleheads. And I will do whatever it takes. I'm telling you, I prayed the prayer. Whatever it costs for our women to become healed and to become free so that the full expression of who God is might be known amongst us, what's that worth? Somebody's got to be big enough to say, I'll start and I'll go and I'll try and I'll be honest and I'll be open and I'll say, God, there's no way for me to mentally do this, so all I can do is lay my life down too and say, I want you to fully be known. I'll forgive these knuckleheads. I'll be patient with these knuckleheads as they're trying to figure this stuff out. All I know really is what we're saying is, I choose to forgive. In essence, it's really this. I decide to lay my life down so that a version of God might be known that has never been known before. I believe everything in creation reveals some aspect of who God is. Mankind is the crown jewel of the creation, the one who reveals the most. It's no small thing to lay down who we became in order to step into our true self so that God might truly be known. I believe we are a people that are willing to go. I believe we are a people that see there's nothing greater than our life being used to reveal an expression of God that has not yet been seen. God won't fully be known until we are whole. God deserves to be known. I still pray. I want to know God, no matter the cost.
Please follow and share this message. And for more information, visit srcowboychurch.com.